Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is the DOUG here, and Mr. Johnny B. Good. Say hello, Johnny.
Oh,
And it's time for NFL Week 8 predictions. Before we get to that, though, if you're new to this channel and you're not watching us, we do a recap and give out the best and worst. And then, of course, we go over some news that spoke over the last few days. So let's get to that. Let's do a quick recap. The Chiefs beat the Broncos on Thursday night, but the Denver Broncos did give a gift to the Green Bay Packers. We'll discuss that later. The Rams obliterated the Falcons. The Bills easily handed their business against the Dolphins. The Jaguars keep the Bengals winless. The Vikings won a tough matchup against the Lions. The Raiders forgot to show up in Green Bay. The Colts, thanks to, in some part, the refs, in my opinion, not completely, but just in some extent, the refs kind of fucked that game up, beating the Texans. The Cards beat the Giants. Cards, by the way, now have won 3 games in a row, so that's scary.
yeah, that's weird.
The 49ers beat the Redskins in what was the Mud Bowl because there was no touchdowns at all. So if you played the defenses, you did a good thing in fantasy. If you didn't, well, yeah. Titans beat the Chargers because Chargers can't figure out how to get a touchdown in the last 40 seconds. The Saints easily handled their business against the Bears. The Ravens get the upset win in Seattle over the Seahawks. My Cowboys obliterated the Eagles. And the Patriots destroyed the Jets. So I went 11-3 this past week.
I went 8-6.
6, that's not bad. For the season, I am 67-40-1.
I'm much worse than that. I'm like 55-48-1.
Alright, now to the best and worst. The best team of week 7. I had a hard time giving it because it's like I don't want to give it to the Patriots because the Jets really didn't show up. And I couldn't give it to the Niners because that was due to the weather. So I'm actually going to give it to the Vikings again, proving that their defense is very good, and Kirk Cousins, apparently since apologizing, has shown up.
I'm actually gonna take the Packers mainly just because their offensive game.
That's fair enough. The worst team of this past week, and there's a lot of choices you could go for. The Bengals, Chicago, Philly, the Redskins, the Jets, but I'm going with the Chargers because they had a chance to win the game and they couldn't get in the end zone. They couldn't figure out how to they kept running the ball with Gordon, and unfortunately Gordon couldn't get in, and then when he looks like he finally gets in, he fumbles the ball before he gets in the end zone.
Yeah, that was like the most Chargers. That's the definition of the Chargers organization. Just that one game. That's all you need to know about the Chargers. My worst team, I was gonna go with the Jets, but that's too easy. I'm picking the Broncos because honestly, they should have at least done something when Patrick Mahomes went down. And the fucking next drive, they give up a fumble recovery for a touchdown. They're done.
Yep. And those are the best and worst this week. Now let's talk about the Texans game real quick before we get into the news of the other things we need to talk about. Many people know me on Facebook and Twitter. I would recommend following me there if you're not. I went off in that game. The Texans got robbed of a touchdown. Now, the reason the refs say it wasn't a touchdown because they were worried about the QB safety. You know, his ankles were wrapped up, and they said, well, he can't move. He was still moving and threw the ball before he even hit the ground. That's the thing. Knees weren't touching. He wasn't on the ground. He was still standing up. But the refs said because his ankles were wrapped up by the player, for safety reasons, we're going to call it a sack. If they didn't do that, it would have been a touchdown. And it was in the first or second quarter, so the game would have still been close. It would have been like, I think, 10-7 or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But because of that, they said he was sacked. And here's the thing, before somebody says, oh, why couldn't they challenge it? Because of the fact that they ruled the play dead as a sack, you couldn't challenge it to be a touchdown, unfortunately. You know, everybody knows, you know, there's some quarterbacks that, yeah, they may be wrapped up, but until they're officially down, you can't say the play's over. You know, There's players, how many times have we seen quarterbacks look like they're about to be sacked but somehow get out of it and complete a
Yeah.
pass? So the refs messed up there. The NFL did come out and say that should have not been called a sack because the Texans quarterback was not down. Unfortunately, just like with the Lions, all the Texans are going to be getting is a letter apologizing that we screwed up.
In a
You know.
fruits basket, probably.
Yeah, in a fruit basket, yeah. So let's now talk about the Patriots and the 49ers now, before we get to those trades. You know, a lot of people are saying, oh, they're the best two teams. I can't say that because of who they played on their schedule. You know, I know everyone's going to say, oh, you know, it doesn't matter. Because here's the thing I like that these two fan bases do, most of them, not all of them. So, Dave, this doesn't include you. They're saying, oh, it doesn't matter who you play on the schedule. You play to win the game. If we're going by that theory, then you can't say Dallas had an easy schedule then. Or the Rams. Because you know what? You don't know how the team's going to be when you play them, right? But let's just take a look at their schedules if you would, if you haven't. The only good team the Patriots have beat are the Bills. Every other team they have faced has a losing record. The 49ers, guess what? Same thing. They have faced teams who have a losing record. Now, I know everyone's going to say, well, the Rams, here's the thing with the Rams. No one's really sold on them, and the Rams just finally got their first win after losing 3 in a row against a bad Atlanta team. So that's not something I would tip my hat on saying that's a legit team you beat. I think both teams have benefited from an easy started schedule. I don't think anyone's going to argue that point. Do I think both teams will win the division at this point? Most likely. But it's not because I think they're the best team. I think it's because they benefited from a start of the easy schedule. And before somebody says, oh, Doug, that's not true, let's just take a look at those schedules real quick because I have manning up. Let's go to the Patriots. They beat the Steelers, and the Steelers we know are a joke this year. They beat the Dolphins, where Dolphins haven't won anything. They beat the Jets, and they beat the Bills. That's 3 division wins right there. Now, the Bills were the hardest matchup, but then they obliterate the Redskins, they beat the Giants, and they beat the Jets again. Again, excluding the Bills, nobody on that list has a winning record. And you play the Browns this week. Again, a team that's, unfortunately, and I'm one of the people who did this with Cleveland, overhyped them. The Patriots' first true test ain't till next week against Baltimore on Sunday night. That is the Patriots' first real test against a team who most likely will win their division in Baltimore at this point unless something happens. After that, the only other teams who have a winning record against they'll be playing at this point is the Cowboys, Texans, Chiefs, and then the Bills one more time. But look who they play. You got a terrible Browns team. They play the Eagles in Week 11. Eagles, we know, look like they're a dumpster fire right now. Well, no, they're imploding.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, they're an organization.
Bengals haven't won a game, and then you get to finish Week 17 against the Dolphins. You pretty much get a cakewalk. I mean, their last 4 games, Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, Dolphins. You can make the argument the Chiefs and Bills will be the hardest games, and they'll probably they'll beat the Bengals and Dolphins. So you know they're going to have 2 wins there, at least 2 wins out of the final 4 games. It's ridiculous. Now let's go to the 49ers. You played a Buccaneers team who we can agree is terrible. They played a Bengals team who are terrible. You know, everyone wants to say the Steelers ain't that bad, because if one play here or there, they could have a better record. That's a terrible excuse. Steelers suck. They got injuries. They played a Brown teams who are overhyped, Rams team who looks like they're a debacle, and then they beat the Redskins who we know are crap. They play the Panthers this weekend. Oh, by the way, this is the first legit team the 49ers have played this season, because the Panthers look like a playoff team on paper. After that, they get an easy game against Arizona. Yes, it's a divisional game, but still. The next big test after the Panthers, in my opinion, for San Francisco is Week 10 against Seattle, and then it's Week 12, 13, 14. Packers, Ravens, Saints. After that, the last 3 games. They play the Falcons. I think we can say San Francisco will win that one, correct? They play the Rams, okay. Rams, who knows what they'll be doing by that point, and then Seattle. They could still lose the division, maybe San Francisco, but they'll still make it because of how well they started against pathetic teams. Because I'll say this right now. You play the Cardinals pretty much back to back, week 9 and week 10. So let's say they lose to the Panthers. Don't know what's going to happen, but let's just say they do. They'll beat the Cardinals. They're 8-1. There's a chance they could be 11-0, 10-1, 9-2, 8-3. So they're probably going to make the playoffs as well, but it would be nice if their schedule would have been a little bit more tougher. Because right now, I'm going to say this, the team to me that's the best team in the NFL, it's not the Niners, it's not the Patriots. It is the Vikings. Their defense is great. Yes, I still don't trust Kirk Cousins to save my life, but they got a great offense, running game, receiving game, and they got a great defense. I think they're the team to beat in the playoffs in the NFC, and as far as for the AFC, I would say it's still Kansas City, particularly when Patrick Mahomes comes back. I know he's out for 3 weeks, which, just to give you guys a demonstration of what they got to face the next 3 weeks, they take on Green Bay, Minnesota, and then they're on the road against the Titans. Now, Mahomes should be back in time for the Week 11 game, which is against the Chargers on Monday night, then a bye week. So if Matt Moore can ride the ship, and at least, I'm not going to say 3-0 because I think it's going to be hard. I think if they can at least go 1-2 or 2-1, they'll be fine. If they go 0-3 there, they're in trouble. A bit. Because that could give Oakland a chance to take the division, because I think Oakland's the only threat at this point, since San Diego, the Chargers can't do nothing, and Denver's pretty much given up. But with that being said, let's get to some of the trades that have happened this past week. So let's start with Atlanta and the Patriots. The Atlanta Falcons gave up Sue, what was his name, correct?
Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah, he is now on the Patriots. Patriots had to give up a draft pick. Also, the Lions have dealt Diggs to the Seahawks as well. The starting safety, Q Diggs, to the Seahawks. Seahawks are giving them a 2020 5th round pick. By the way, the Lions also had to give Seattle a 2021 7th round pick. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, the one that pissed off everybody, particularly Bronco fans. The 49ers traded for Broncos wide receiver E. Sanders. A lot of people wanted Sanders, but apparently San Francisco was the only one who agreed to the asking price. By the way, if you did not read the details of the trade, the Niners sent a 2020 3rd and 4th round pick to Denver, which also includes a 5th round pick with Sanders in the deal, pending a physical. So yeah, and also for you fantasy owners out there, Lions running back Johnson, he's on the IR as he's having knee surgery. So please keep that in mind. I believe if I saw it on the ticker last night, I believe that they're trying to sign a running back to get him ready for this weekend. We shall see. And there's that. Now, of course, we're about to get to the favorite part of our program, the picks for this week. By the way, just give a heads up, the Ravens and the Cowboys have a bye this week. So I know that makes you happy, Johnny, with both our teams are off. And by the way, congratulations on the Nationals winning Game 1 of the World Series last night.
I was honestly shocked. That was
just 3 more wins, and then the Nationals win a championship. Could it happen? Maybe.
But anything can happen, I guess.
That is true. Alright, so let's head over to the Thursday night game. Might be good if I'm actually on week 8 instead of week 7. The first game, which is tomorrow night, it is Kirk Cousins' revenge, as it is the Redskins are traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Now, of course, the Vikings have been playing pretty well this year. Redskins are pretty much dead in the water. I got the Vikings in this one.
This is to be a trap game if Minnesota doesn't show up for some reason. But I'm still taking the Vikings regardless.
Yeah, I don't trust the Redskins right now, and at this point, I gotta agree with what the guy said on PTI, pardon the interruption, which is airs on ESPN. Um, Play the rookie quarterback you guys drafted, Washington. Don't I know Corey Ramsey? You know who you are. You were buddies from high school. You're saying you don't want him to play the rookie quarterback because your offensive line is terrible, and I agree. Your offensive line is terrible. Well, wouldn't you like to know what you have right now, what he needs to be learning, what he doesn't need to know, instead of waiting until next year when he really hasn't had a chance to play in a real game? And I know everyone's argument's going to be, oh, they put him in that one game. Yeah, he was put in. He wasn't started. He got put in because you benched the original quarterback. So I don't want to hear it. But Vikings should win this one pretty easily. If they do lose it, though, that would probably be the big upset for this week. Moving on to Atlanta, it is the Seahawks going to taking on the Falcons. The Falcons look like a train wreck, and you know what? I'm going to say this. It seems like ever since they lost that Super Bowl to the Patriots, they have been going downhill. Atlanta, forget Super Bowl hangover. They've pretty much just never woke up.
They hit rock bottom.
Yeah, and it can get worse from here. And surprisingly, the Falcons owner is still saying the head coach will not be fired. If they don't get any more wins this year, which is a possibility, and they don't fire the head coach, something's wrong in that place. Now, of course, I should point out Matt Ryan may not be playing because he does have an ankle injury. This is my lock of the week. I'm taking Seahawks.
Yep, lock of the week too.
This is an easy bounce back game for Seattle. If Seattle loses this, that's going to be depressing. Moving on to the next game, and this one I'm honest, this one was a hard game for me. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Titans. Titans coming off a good win over the Chargers. Well, I wouldn't say good win, but a win nonetheless. Buccaneers coming off a bye week, if I am correct.
Yep.
Jen, I'm going to let you pick this one first. Who do you have, Titans or the Bucks?
Concerning last game, I'm taking the Titans.
I'm taking the Titans as well. I just think, they do look a little bit better than with Mariota not starting right now. But I kind of wish Mariota would start, because this was the game I kind of had highlighted, saying the winner of this one between Winston and Mariota would probably keep their job. The other one would probably be fired after this year. But I think it's safe to say we could see both those quarterbacks gone and on a new team. I think Mariota will probably get signed first because he's a decent quarterback on occasions. But Winston's a bust. Up next, a trap game, and I think you would agree with me it's a trap game. It's the Cardinals at the Saints. Now, of course, Drew Brees will most likely be back in another week or so, but Teddy's been riding the ship. They've actually not lost a game since Teddy became the starting quarterback. Arizona's won 3 games in a row. They've actually looked pretty decent. This is a hard game because you don't really know. The Cardinals just getting lucky because of the schedule to win 3 in a row, or are they actually riding the ship and getting it together? It is in New Orleans. It is in a dome. Teddy's been playing well. I'm taking the Saints here, but I think it's going to be closer than what a lot of people think it's going to be.
I'm taking the Saints too.
So far we have agreed on every game. That is scary, because I don't think that worked out too well the last few times when we agreed on so many games until a certain point. Up next, we are heading to jolly old London, and I would like to apologize to the fans in London because you're getting a shit show. It is the Los Angeles Rams taking on WKRP Cincinnati as the Bengals and Rams go.
Let's just stop that. I mean, it should just not be like the Bungles.
Well, are you going to go with the upset pick and give the Bengals their first win, or are you going to... Well, breaking news, I have the Rams.
The Bengals are absolutely terrible on every metric standard. I mean, with the Dolphins, at least you would expect them to be terrible, but the Bengals are just abysmal.
Well, here's a stat I didn't know until yesterday. The Miami Dolphins have more rushing yards than the Bengals. Let that sink in there.
Yeah, and they have Mixon and fucking Bernard.
Yeah, so that is disturbing. But yeah, Rams win. If Bengals win here, that's going to be freaking hilarious, though. Up next, we head to Jacksonville as it is the Jets taking on the Jaguars. Both teams kind of disappointing. Jets, though, you could say it's because Sam Darnold was out for so long. I know the Jets are angry at the media right now because of the seeing ghost comment that was leaked. That got picked up on that the audio was leaked for that Sam Darnold said that he was seen against the Patriots. Jacksonville's been also hit with injury, so this is one of those games where it's like it's probably going to be decent in the sense of you're going to see players who normally don't get to start usually. But this was another hard pick for me, but I'm going with Jacksonville. I think it's going to be close, though.
I was originally going to pick the Jets until I saw Monday.
Oh, yeah, I think if the Jets would have got a few more points, I might have picked the Jets, but I'm going with Jags. Up next, it is another trap game we have this week. It is the Eagles, after getting obliterated by the Cowboys, take on the Buffalo Bills, whose Bills defense is great, but the offense does leave something to be desired. Johnny, who do you got?
Upset pick of the week here. I'm taking the Eagles to upset the Bills.
Oh, wow. I am taking the Bills. I just trust the Bills defense a whole lot more, particularly seeing how bad the Eagles defense was against Dallas. And plus the Eagles offense, they did not look together at all. I don't know if it's because their head coach opened his mouth and said they were going to easily beat Dallas, or are the Eagles even that good? Because we've seen them have glimpses of intelligence, but then we've seen them have stupidity.
I actually got another pick. I mean, I kind of want to pick this game out, so at the same time I want to pick another game. Actually, I'm going to go with the other game. Scratch out upset pick of the week label.
Okay.
It's a game we didn't talk about yet, so.
But you're still picking the Eagles though to beat the Bills, right?
Yeah, just scratch that upset pick of the week title off.
All right. Next, the next 1 o'clock game. It is the Chargers at the Bears. This is a hard one.
Upset pick.
No, this is your upset pick. Oh boy. Chargers have looked terrible. The Bears' offense has looked terrible, but the Bears still have a good defense. All right, who's your upset pick, Johnny?
I'm taking the Chargers.
Oh, you think the Chargers right the ship this week?
Yep. I mean, both teams look very, very mediocre. Well, I mean, Chargers. I mean, they stay competitive, but they just can never finish them off.
I am taking the Bears here. I think the Bears' defense is probably the only thing that is saving Chicago right now. And I'm sorry, the way the Chargers finished that game against the Titans was a joke. You have Phillip Rivers, and I know everyone's going to say, well, that you run the ball in that situation. They couldn't get it in the end zone that many times running the ball. They should have passed it. That's why you have a tight end. But I have the Bears here. I just trust Chicago more defensively. Next, it is Dark Knight and Rosie's New York Giants traveling to Detroit to take on the Lions. Both teams coming off a loss. The Lions traded away one of the best defensive players. Giants have injuries, but they do have their running back back. Who do you got, Johnny?
I'm taking Detroit.
I'm taking the Lions as well. I just think they're a little bit better, but not by much. I think this is going to be a closer game than what people are thinking as well. Another one of those weird close games. But I just trust the Lions a little bit better. Not by much. It's literally a coin flip. This is the definition of a coin flip, because both teams, you can make an argument for and against, to where, because they're pretty much even if you look at them from what they've played this year. Neither team looks like they can hold on to a lead. Neither team looks like they can make a comeback. It's really one of those games I would say watch to see, because you'll probably will be seeing a young Giants team of the future. But I think the Lions, because they do have a little bit more of that veteranness, I think they will pull it out. And the last 1 o'clock game, it is the Raiders taking on the Texans.
That's not a 1 o'clock game anymore, I think.
Oh, that's right, it's not. It did get moved, but it's showing as a 1 o'clock on Madden. I apologize for that.
And the Broncos Colts game is a 1 o'clocker. And so we'll just.
Well, you got to remember, Madden doesn't do that, you know that. But let's just talk about the Raiders and Texans real quick, because that's the one we're on now. Thank you, Matt. That's the only thing I don't like. It's like I wish the Madden would update it when the real life stuff does, you know, this flex schedule. But it is the Raiders at Texans, both teams coming off losses, but I'm taking the Texans here. I just think the Texans are a way better team. Even
Yeah.
with their loss, I think they're still a better team defensively and offensively. Oakland, I said it earlier in the preseason, I didn't like them overall. I thought they were going to be one of the worst teams in that conference. Unfortunately, the Chargers said hold my beer. But if the Raiders win this and the Chiefs lose, that will make the division interesting because then the Raiders can come back and steal it, depending what happens. But we got the Texans. Moving on, it is the Carolina Panthers with the backup quarterback who has not lost a game since starting, taking on the San Francisco 49ers. This is the 49ers' first real test. They do have probably one of the best wide receivers in the game, so that's going to help Jimmy Garoppolo out a hell of a lot more. I wonder if that's because of how bad the offense played in the rain on Sunday. Defensively, the Niners are one of the better defensive teams. Granted, again, look who they've played. They haven't played nobody, so this is their first real test. Carolina's got one of the best running backs out there right now, who's pretty much been carrying the load with the backup quarterback. It's pretty much been running the ball. Who do you have, Johnny?
For the 49ers Panthers.
Yep.
49ers.
Well, this is one of my two. You heard me right. One of my two upset specials this week. I am taking the Panthers on the road to knock out San Francisco. I just think since this is the first real team the 49ers are playing, the Panthers running game has been damn good, and they haven't lost a game since not letting Cam Newton play, to where I think Cam Newton's going to be traded. I think Panthers win this. I really trust the Panthers here.
So you're having two upsets this week?
I got two upsets this week.
Oh. Well, that counts upset picking the week, though.
Well, I said two upset specials. This one's the Sunday one. Well, one of the two. The other one is my big upset pick of the week.
Alrighty, okay.
But this is just this is that little upset that I think a lot of people are not going to predict.
I feel like I know which game you chose.
The next game, it is the Browns at the... Okay, I'm not even going to hype this one up. I got the Patriots over the Browns.
Yep.
Moving on.
Patriots do your service against the Browns.
Yeah, help Baltimore out on the bye week. Up next, a very hard matchup as it is the Broncos taking on the Colts here. Colts have looked very well without Andrew Luck. They've actually are in the lead for their division. Denver, after trading Sanders, I don't know who the hell they got left for Falco to throw it to, and they got a good running back, but not much. I'm taking the Colts on at home.
Colts easily.
Yep. And speaking of the Broncos, it's the Green Bay at Kansas City. Packer fans, you should send thank you cards and flowers to the Broncos for injuring Patrick Mahomes. I got the Packers here. If Patrick Mahomes was playing, I would pick Kansas City. I know it's in Kansas City, but does anyone really think Matt Moore can really beat the Packers?
If he tries hard enough.
Yeah, keyword. If he tries hard enough, if he believes in the heart of the cards, he can. But that ain't gonna be enough. I'm taking Green Bay. And you got Green Bay as well, I guess?
Yeah.
Alright, now the Monday night game. And this is probably the one where everyone thinks I'm going to lose my mind. It is the Miami Dolphins taking on the Steelers. Now, the last time these two teams faced off on a Monday night, you remember that. I think we may remember that game. It is on the... Yeah, I think it's on one of the YouTube channels I watch. They do the Worst Of series, and it was the worst Monday night game. This game, I think, won't be as bad, but it's probably one of the worst Monday night games this year. You have Miami, who hasn't won a game, who will be starting Fitzpatrick, who, to the Dolphins' credit, they did look good against the Bills. They actually looked like they could have won that game if they had help and talent. Pittsburgh has been up and down all year, injury-ridden. I know it's in Pittsburgh, and I know a lot of my Pittsburgh fans are like, "Oh, please pick Pittsburgh. Please pick Pittsburgh, Doug. Don't do what you're going to do." My major upset of this week, and I think this will give the Bengals the #1 pick. I am taking the Miami Dolphins on Monday night to get the first win of the year.
I'm taking Pittsburgh.
You don't want to take the chance. I understand that, man. I think I'm being the crazy one this week with 2 upsets, but I just think this is the if you're Miami, this is your best chance right now to get a win. Because after this, and we're going to talk about some hockey in a minute, because baseball, unfortunately, I know you were picking the Nationals. I didn't make a pick in time. But if you look at the Dolphins, even if they don't win Monday, they still could win next week against the Jets. Which that could be a game that that's going to be a game we're going to be watching, because it's going to be another shitball. And then, hey, if there's a chance both the Bengals and the Dolphins are still winless by week 16, week 16 will be the ultimate tank ball, because the loser will get the first pick of the draft automatically.
I just might as well watch a dumpster burn.
You know damn well there's going to be people who have Sunday ticket who are going to watch that week 16 Bengals and Dolphins to see who gets the first pick in the draft. And if I was a college player, I'd be watching that game, because it's like, okay, where am I going? Am I going to Miami, where it's going to be hot, or am I going to Cincinnati, where there's going to be snow? And then that does do it for the picks. But before we go, since we usually do this from time to time, we're going to make some NBA predictions and some hockey predictions, and then I'm going to do some college predictions this week.
NBA and NHL, okay.
And so I'm pulling up the NHL schedule for today. Well, there's only 2 games today. We got the Penguins and Lightning, and that's at 8 o'clock.
And the other is Detroit.
At Senators, yeah. I got the Penguins, obviously. That's my team. Who do you have in that one, Johnny?
I have the Lightning.
I hate you. And Red Wings at Senators. Can I watch golf instead? But I got the Red Wings. I don't care.
Sens, I guess.
And in basketball, we have a whole lot of games, because yesterday was the opener, just in case if you did miss it. The Raptors beat the Pelicans in overtime, 130 to 122, and the Clippers won the Battle of LA, 112 to 102.
I watched that freaking Clippers game.
So, for the NBA...
it was more like if on screen.
Yeah. The first game, Wizards at Mavericks.
Wizards, Mavericks. Oh yeah, it's showing because it's your team, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Mavs.
Well, you know I'm taking Mavericks. Bulls versus Hornets.
The early season tank ball. This is such a shit show. I'm taking the Bulls easily.
I'm taking the Hornets. I'm gonna be crazy. Pistons at Pacers.
Pacers.
I'll agree with you there, Pacers. Cavaliers at Magic.
I'm gonna go Magic.
Same. I think Cleveland's a bust. Celtics at 76ers.
Sixers.
I got Boston. I think Boston's a better team than what people are letting on. Grizzlies at Heat.
I'm gonna take the Grizzlies.
Same. Miami doesn't have D Wade anymore. He's retired. Timberwolves versus the Nets.
I'm gonna take the Timberwolves.
Guess what, New York? You finally get to see a team win. It's called the Nets. Knicks at Spurs.
The Knicks. Fuck it.
I'm taking San Antonio. I ain't that brave. Thunder at Jazz.
I gotta take the Jazz, obviously.
Yeah, you're a Jazz fan. I'm taking the Jazz too. Thunder's I think we're building. Nuggets at Trailblazers.
I'm gonna take the Nuggets.
Alright. And I'm taking the Trailblazers. And the last one is the Kings at Suns.
I'm taking the Kings.
I'm taking the Suns. I think the Suns are a little better. Alright, now time for the college games. Now I'm just going to pick 5 at random, and those will be the 5 we will pick. And the first one we're actually going to pick tomorrow night's game. It is the 16th team in the country, SMU, who is 7-0, taking on Houston. Houston is 3-4.
I'm taking SMU.
Same here. They're a better team. They're one of the few teams still left undefeated.
I'm going to pick the next game.
Alright, what's the next game you want to do?
Let's see, sir. Kind of forgot that Washington's no longer in the top 25 because, you know what, we'll do this game. What, Oregon and Washington State University.
That's a hard one.
I'm gonna say that Washington State.
Oregon. Oregon's been playing great football. I mean, there's no lie on that one. They've been playing good football. But this could be an upset. But I'm taking Oregon. I just think they've been playing great since that first loss they had in week 1. And by the way, for anyone wanting to know, that game's at 10:30 on ESPN. So, yeah, you may want to stay up late if you're planning on watching that one.
Yeah.
All right, the next game we're going to discuss. I'm going to the randomizer, you know, letting it just run through all these. Is an interesting matchup. It is number 9 Auburn, who is 6-1, taking on the number 2 team in the country, LSU. That game is on CBS at 3:30.
I'm taking LSU in that game. They're way too good.
I'm going with the upset. I am taking Auburn. Alright, up next, oh hey, we get a battle of 2 teams that are pathetic. It is San Jose State, who is 3-4, taking on Army, who is also 3-4. That game you can watch on CBS Sports News Network.
What were the teams again?
It is Army at home taking on San Jose State.
I don't know much about those teams, so I'm just going to take that better team, I guess.
Well, both of them are kind of the same, so just go eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
Army, I guess.
Alright, and the 4th game, number 13 Wisconsin, who is 6-1, takes on Ohio State, who is undefeated on Fox. Who do you got?
Ohio.
I got Ohio State as well. And then the last game, unless you want to pick one. Alright.
I'll let you do yours.
Oh, the last game that I had picked up, it was Notre Dame versus Michigan. You know who I'm picking? I'm picking Notre Dame.
I guess I'm going to go Notre Dame, actually.
Yay! Alright, what was the last game you wanted to pick?
California, Utah.
Utah.
What? What's wrong with this state of Utah?
You think I'm... California's not that good. Utah's at home. They're 6-1. Utah's favored by 21 points. I'm taking Utah.
Utah, let's go.
But those were picks for the NFL, hockey, basketball, college, and all that. If your team plays this week in the NFL, good luck. If your team is all like me and Johnny's, just kick back, relax, and enjoy hoping that your division rivals will all lose this week. And we will see you next time for week number 9. And hey, I don't have to sing this week, and I don't have to sing next week. Thank God for that. See you next.
We forgot to do our picks on who's going to win chess.
What the? No, goodbye.